Hey guys, welcome back to the Buzz Weaver channel. A channel, as you all guys know, is one where we take the complicated, we take the confusing, we take the difficult, and we try to make it as simple as possible. And in today's video, let me just begin with this viral tweet that's been going around. Well, not this particular tweet in general, but this particular viral event.
Can you provide a definition for the word woman?
Can I provide a definition? No,
Yeah.
I can't.
You can't?
Not in
Okay.
this context.
So you
I'm not a
believe the
biologist.
meaning of the word woman is so unclear and controversial that you can't give me a definition?
That's right, because it is controversial. And as we have said here on the Buzz Weaver channel, for at least the last 5 years, polite society gave the left an inch when progressives and Democrats couldn't emotionally and psychologically reconcile that Donald Trump was a duly elected president. They took that inch and hijacked our culture and language. So the left has had such an effect, progressives, cancel culture, wokeness, outrage mobs, have had such an impact on our society that a Supreme Court Justice nominee would not simply define the word woman, also known as a grown adult female. That's simple. You can Google it. You can look it up on any browser you want to. You can look it up in the dictionary. It's typically going to be something to the effect of a grown adult female, right? And what's remarkable about this, and I do like using ground news, it's one that Tim Pool often uses to aggregate his news and to give you a clear sense of how these stories are covered. Now, if you're a member of or if you're a subscriber, a member, a follower of the Buzz Weaver channel, you already know, guys, that I try to use a variety of different news sources and then try to indicate to you guys and show that, as many of you already know if you're watching this channel, the disparity in the coverage. So here you see the bias distribution. 88% of the source leans right, only 12% left. So this is significant in many different ways, because if you're new to the channel, then I would encourage you to share this with those that may be watching, or if you're finding this to get information about these topics, you've come to the right place, because many new tech people ask me, well, why am I still on YouTube? Why am I still participating in this oppressive censorship regime, and so forth and so on? Well, that's because normies come here on YouTube and they look for this kind of information because they're probably confused. And there isn't a lot of content, I guess you could say, that is pushed to the surface, as it were, because a lot of this is suppressed, a lot of this is pushed down. And I've shown you many times, if you're new to the channel, I've shown my subscribers here many times, if I look up something as simple as this particular nominee for Supreme Court Justice, and then look it up, you won't see my video anywhere probably near the top. So this is why I say, if you do come across it, be sure to like and share it so that we can show the algorithm that this type of content by users who built this platform is acceptable and can be used as a way to educate individuals who are in denial or in their echo chambers and whatever else. But this is yet another example of the many examples that we use here on the Buzz Weaver channel to indicate the bias, the control of language, the control of meaning, the control of everything, until it runs into reality. And Miss Blackburn here has run into reality, because she may have to, at one time, which is very interesting, because one of the huge topics, I can't emphasize that enough, among the left is Roe v. Wade. It is a huge topic, has been a huge topic since its inception, and continues to be a huge topic, and is a topic each time there is a Supreme Court justice going through a confirmation process. And here's what's interesting. Supreme Court justices do have to rule on these. Kavanaugh did nearly as soon as he was inaugurated and named to the Supreme Court. He had to deal with an abortion issue in a particular state. So almost immediately when he became a Supreme Court justice, he had to deal with this ruling. And if we look at the ruling, Roe versus Wade, 410 U.S. 113, was a landmark decision of the U.S. Supreme Court. The court ruled that the Constitution of the United States protects a woman's liberty to choose to have an abortion without excessive government restrictions. A pregnant woman's liberty. So it brings into question, and this is why this is viral, because she didn't want to define it because either it was a cultural thing or she wanted more context, which is very typical of lawyers and attorneys and judges. They're very clever with language, and of course, so are the politicians in general. They use language for particular reasons and particular ways to try to leverage a point, illustrate a point, or to make a point, which is what I'm doing here, illustrating to you that the left has taken their inch that was given to them because they couldn't reconcile. Think about this. They could not deal emotionally and psychologically with the fact that Donald Trump was a president. Because you didn't hear about cancel culture, wokeness, outrage mobs, and any number of activist groups that were created after President Trump was elected. You didn't hear about any of these types of groups. Now, we had issues with censorship with YouTube and other platforms before the 2016 election, but after, that's when all of them became very emboldened, and they all act as a duopoly to work together to censor and ban people. So here's one of the instances that maybe one day the Supreme Court justice or the Supreme Court may have to deal with, and that is the NCAA, or with an issue with trans individuals. I have no particular issue with trans people whatsoever, no particular issues with them as human beings. However, our language and definitions and meanings have been hijacked to accommodate for individuals, certain individuals in our society. But when you match that type of ideology or belief system with reality, it comes crumbling down, particularly when you start invoking science or biology. Because, as we know, there is, men and women, or female and male. And, of course, this is disputed. Now, I'm not bringing that up to then create an argument about transgender or binary or LGBT issues. I'm just saying that when we look at biology, that's typically what biology is going to say. This is why when you go to the medical doctor, they need to know these things, because when they prescribe medication or if they look for particular diseases or illnesses and ailments, some of those are often a root cause of that particular person's gender or that particular person's sexuality or biology, right? For example, I'll give you many examples when it comes to men, for example, in their age with prostate issues and other issues. Then, of course, women with breast cancer, these sorts of things. Of course, men can get breast cancer as well. So, again, it is one of those touchy subjects that goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But you have a Supreme Court justice who just didn't want to define the term, even just in the basic generic sense, for, I guess, some fear of repercussion. I don't see why she would not be probably nominated or, and appointed to the court. Now, she is replacing what would be considered another left Supreme Court justice. But here's the thing, and I say this often to you guys as someone who worked in law for 5 years. I'm obviously not an expert in law. I was not an attorney. I was just a legal assistant. But suffices to say that we have rules of law, we have terms, we have language for particular reasons, and that's so that we can establish coherence to reality. And then when you start trying to manipulate reality or go outside the boundaries of reality, particularly when it comes to law, where things have to be black and white, they have to be defined, because that's how we're going to base things on law. And as I've mentioned to you before, by defining law, this is what the Supreme Court justices are supposed to do. They are supposed to make their decisions based on law. But every time a nominee comes up, you always hear the political tribes talk about whether the justice is left, whether the justice is right, whether the justice is this, whether the justice is that, and it's absolutely absurd. They're supposed to make their decisions based upon the rule of law. And this is a little concerning, because if she can't define what a woman is, then how is she going to deal with issues when it comes to Roe v. Wade? How is she going to deal with issues when it comes to transgenders or other distinctive issues that involve individual people and their distinction as human beings biologically? So I found that quite fascinating. But as you guys know, I did clean up this audio. We know that for the last 6 years, the Democrats, working alongside the mainstream media, activists, and tech giants, have done their best job to redefine language, change language, suppress people, suppress ideologies, and do it as a duopoly. And we see it right here. I want you guys to listen carefully. Now, I did fix up the audio just a little bit better so you can hear it. Now, this is Donald Trump talking to Leslie Stahl in 60 Minutes, where he describes that the Hunter Biden's laptop, and then she just denies it.
Leslie, And you think it's the biggest issue to campaign on?
I think it's one of the biggest scandals I've ever seen, and you don't cover it. You want to talk about?
Well, because it can't be verified.
You want to talk
I'm
about
telling you.
insignificant things?
I'm telling you.
Of course, it can be verified. Excuse me.
We
They
cannot
found the
verify.
laptop, Leslie.
It can't be
Leslie,
verified.
what can't be verified?
The laptop.
Why do you say that?
Because
even the
it's
family
verified.
hasn't. The family on the laptop.
All right, so President Trump just goes on to say that because of this, Biden basically went into hiding for 5 days. So they put a lid on the media because this was something that was going around. And so they had to coordinate together. The Democrats, working alongside the mainstream media, had to coordinate an effort, circle the wagons around Biden because this was circulating through social media. And their plan was to go nuclear, right? They went ahead and they just wiped it all out. If anyone talked about it, if anyone mentioned it, if there was images, if there was pictures, if there was links, if there was video, if there was audio, if there was anything pertaining to Hunter Biden, it was removed, and anyone who produced it, posted it, translated it, transcribed it, showed it in images, showed it in audio, or linked it in audio, was banned or suppressed or suspended from social media entirely. So this is what I've been saying when people, I don't know if people think I exaggerate or sensationalize or anything, but it seems very plain and obvious here because in my videos, I illustrate to you guys with articles from various news sources across all of media to demonstrate to you guys what's actually going on. So as I've also said, the media, the Democrats, the progressives, the activists, work from a position that they assume that everyone is dumber than they are, and that they also assume that people can't recognize how dumb they are. And this is just some of the simple little distinctions, the simple little litmus test, comparisons and contrasts, where you can make very simple distinctions. Here is a Supreme Court Justice nominee who essentially refuses to define the word woman, which is quite interesting. If you guys haven't already, below this video, you can find the various social media links that I belong to, where you can see posts that I make here on the platforms, the various ones, as you see here. So your guys' support is always appreciated when you guys like and share on here as well. And, of course, if you're watching this on New Tech, Rumble, Odyssey, and BitChute, I want to thank all you guys for your continued support and all the recent follows. Thank you so very much as we continue on in 2022 to like and share this content, especially if you're on YouTube, to the normies who come here looking for this because they are confused. And I want to thank all of you guys for your continued support. Now, appearing there on the screen, that would be the channel icon to subscribe to the channel. You can click on that to obviously subscribe, as well as get notifications so you know when there's content here on the channel. And I will see you guys in the next video.